Hello everybody, it's Chris, your boy, back with another video. It had been brought to my attention that some of you would probably like a tier list video, so that's what we are doing today. We are gonna rank all those countries' focus trees. Starting with, of course, one of the worst that this game has to offer, Australia, which is gonna go in the god-awful tier. Oh yeah, all the flags are kinda cropped weird, and I don't know why that's the case. I was supposed to post this video yesterday, but this fucking site gave me a lot of headache because it just won't work, so I'm done. I'm not gonna fix this. Bear with this. Okay, back to Australia. It's bad. Why is it bad? Because it's fucking old. The Australian focus tree was released in the first Hearts of Iron DLC, which didn't age very well. And that is because they used a lot of mechanics, let's call them, that are very fucking bad. And by that I mean that a pretty good and big part of your focus tree is blocked behind word tension, which yes, you can influence, but not that much. And you also have to be at war to do some of these focuses. So that is one thing. The second thing is that it's kinda small, and you run out of focuses to do by 1943, I think. It lacks alternative paths. I mean, yes, you have 4 paths to choose from, but they are not that different from each other. And of course, there is a lot of stupid RNG, like with Demand New Zealand. And I think the biggest offense this focus tree brings to the table is the fact that you cannot core anything as Australia. Not even the territory that you already start with, like Papua and those freaking islands. And why the fuck, for the love of God, can't you core New Zealand? This is, in my opinion, the most stupid thing about the Australian focus tree. Okay, moving on. We have the Raj, part of the same DLC. It's equally bad or even a little bit worse than Australia. And that it's pretty much just because it's even smaller than the Australian focus tree. You know it's bad when your industrial and the army trees are double the size of your political tree. And again, not much choices here, you only have 3 paths, and 2 of them are basically identical. Only the color differs and the type of the hat that you wear. So yeah, I don't have much to say about this one. I haven't really played it. I think I only played the Raj like 2 times, maybe. Next we have Bulgaria. Well, this one is a very interesting one. It was added in the Battle for the Bosphorus DLC, which was one of the DLCs that tried to do something different, being cheaper and only adding DLCs to minor nations. I think every DLC before that added new mechanics or a major rework or something like that. So the Bulgarian focus tree, it's gonna go in the average tier for me. And that's a big shame because this could have been one of the best focus trees in Hearts of Iron. Let's get the positive things first. Number 1 is huge, but I think this one is huge in the right way. And what I mean by that is that I don't feel like many of those focuses are just to fill out space, you know? As with other focus trees, I really feel, especially for the Soviet one, that maybe 30% of those focuses are just for filler. I mean, couldn't you just condense this a little more, giving me less clicks to do? The second great thing about the Bulgarian focus tree is that you get a lot of choices. You have 4 main paths: communist, democratic, non-aligned, and fascist. But you get down here and you have another set of choices, which I think it's great. But what is not that great is this shit. This pisses me off so fucking much. And I do think that because this initial idea to make Bulgaria not being able to edit divisions for a long time is the factor that brought us the mechanics to form the Balkan Federation, where you just sit around and press buttons for an hour instead of actually fighting wars, which I think it takes a lot from the fun of the game. That, and I'm not a really big fan of the factions management mechanics. They're kinda wanky and they piss me off because I forget to do them often. Moving on, China. Yet another fossil of a focus tree from a long forgotten DLC. It's not as bad as the first one, but China's gonna go in lame. I don't have much to say about this. I just played it recently until 1960 for 1k subscribers. You will have a link in the description if you haven't seen that yet. But basically the thing that upsets me the most, as for most focus trees, is that it's very small and you don't have a lot of choices. I mean, for China you can only stay non-aligned or go democratic. You don't even get advisors to go communist or fascist. There is a lot of mechanics that I see very pointless, like the bridge the Yellow River one, and the whole entire Chinese power struggle. I just never use it and it doesn't really work ever for me. Oh yeah, and this part of the focus tree. Everything between this focus and this focus, it's just filler. I don't care how many factories you get, how many bonuses, it just pisses me off. The fact that you need to maintain relations above 75% alone, it's fucking awful for me. I always forget to do this and get my focus cancelled at 56 days or something like that. So yeah, not a very good focus tree. And then we have the other China, the autistic little brother, which is on par with the other one. Maybe a little bit better, let's put it above regular China. Czechoslovakia, the glorified basic focus tree. It's gonna go in top of the awful tier. And again, I don't care how powerful it is, I don't care about how easy it is to defeat the Germans. I just don't like it. It's the most soulless focus tree in Hearts of Iron 4. Change my mind. And next we have Canada, which is actually, in my opinion, the best focus tree that the first DLC has to offer. So this will go in the average tier. I am also very happy that Paradox started to update those focuses a little bit, and I think what they did for Canada, it's pretty good. Again, the Canadian focus tree suffers from the same thing like its brothers. The stupid world tension and be at war mechanics in order to complete focuses, and the lack of paths and overall depth. But I don't know, this one just works better for me. And to get it out of the way, let's just go to South Africa, which is somewhere between Canada and the Rush. And actually I will put it above the Chinas. Same old thing again. World tension mechanics, only 3 paths to choose from, and small focus tree. But I don't know, somehow this focus tree always worked for me. I really like playing communist South Africa. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty bad, but I don't know, I just like it. If you really want to see some good focus trees for the Dominions, I suggest you play the mod Forgotten Nations. Oh, and I actually just played South Africa in that mode in my last video, go watch that next. Okay, next we're gonna rank the Baltic countries. This was a really big surprise for me when the No Step Back DLC came out. I haven't read any of the dev diaries and the only thing I know frankly was that the Soviets are gonna get a rework. So I didn't expect at all for those two to get such good focus trees. So we're gonna rank them all because they all come in a package. Right off the bat, the Latvian focus tree is the worst. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's just a boring nation. So it's gonna be, I think, top of the average tier. Yes, better than Bulgaria. The Baltic Empire or Ostland, it's pretty fun to play once, but it just doesn't have the same grade of replayability as its other two brothers. Next we're gonna go with Estonia, and I think this is the first ever solid focus tree that we encountered. And it's the midpoint between Latvia and Lithuania, which is the best. And it's gonna go in the best of the best tier. I might get a lot of shit for this one, but I really think Lithuania is one of the best focus trees in Hearts of Iron. So, Estonia. Estonia is a little worse just because of this path, which is pretty fucking boring. I don't think I ever played this one. But you get the very good shared communist branch for all the Baltics, which I think was a magnificent idea to do it like that. The very OP industrial tree, which all of them again share. And of course the Rally the Nation path, which I think is just masterfully crafted. It's all I could ever want from Estonia. And here at the end you get a little choice. You either form Estonia or unite the Finnic identity, which is a little worse. And you know what? Yes, Estonia came into Nordic, and it's totally fine, and everybody should respect it. Moving on, Lithuania. Where do I begin? Well, solid industrial, solid communist path, the Commonwealth claimant path, which it shares with Poland, which I am really glad that they gave this to Lithuania to be able to do it as them also, because they deserved it. We got the mandatory boring historical path here, and of course the best of the best, the branch where you can form Greater Lithuania. It's just so fun to play this little nation and reclaim your long lost glory. It just scratches that itch that I have for glory, you know? And I do think a lot of people agree with me here, so let's move on. To Ethiopia, oh god damn. I have so many conflicting feelings about the Ethiopian focus tree you can't even imagine. But I do think that it's either in top average or bottom solid. You know what, fuck it, let's put it in bottom solid. So let's see, what does Ethiopia do best? First of all, everything that has to do with the second Italo-Ethiopian war, it's just amazing. They did a very good job to give you a challenging yet rewarding experience with the war. The problem is that after the war is finished, things really slow down, and they slow down bad. And that is mainly because the industrial tree. You got 22 focuses here, and only 4 of them are 35 days. That is 1540 days. That means 4.2 years. 4 years is like 2 hours of real time just doing this branch, and you need it because your industry is shit as Ethiopia. And the problem is that for most of these focuses you either have to end the war with Italy or you have to control all your core states, which means for most playthroughs you will only be able to start this branch in 1938 or even 1939, which puts you on hold until the 42 or 43s. And you also have to do more shit than this, you have a lot more focuses to do. But in my opinion, this is very easy to fix. You just make these 4 focuses 35 days, you leave this at 70. All this Horn of Africa branch should be 35 days each. And you leave everything as it is in this one except those 3 which should be 35. And by doing this, you just half the time to around 2 years, which I think is pretty reasonable. Okay, the next part that I don't really like about this focus tree and by blood alone countries is the irregular system. I mean, yeah, they are pretty strong, they are pretty cheap to produce, and I overall like them. The only thing that bothers me is that I cannot disband them. Just allow me to disband those goddamn tropes, please, if I choose to. Okay, let's do a brief detour to the things that I love about this DLC. As I said, the war part is phenomenal. The other thing that I really like is that you have a lot of paths. You have 5 paths to choose from, and in pretty much every single one of them you have a lot more choices to make. So the rally around the Emperor tree, it's the best. Mostly the Emperor stage, not the boarding the train one. I really love how this focus tree just lets you stack formable nations one after the other. I mean, you get the Horn of Africa here, you can then restore the Empire of Aksum holding Yemen, and then on top of that you can also form the Empire of Solomon. This focus, I don't really see the point in it, it only rarely happens, and oh boy, those two, the Pan-Africanism and towards African unity, are just awfully done. It takes way too much time and way too much political power for this to be viable, and on top of that the resistance shit, it just doesn't work, bro, it's awful. The middle point in the focus tree is the weakest one because it involves the Italians, of course. I only played it once and I don't look forward to playing it some more, and the communist path is really good. The Soviet aid path not so much, but the anarchist one, it's done very good. Well, very good until the very end, because you get this focus which of course allows you to deal with the decisions again. And I really appreciate that you can literally core all of Africa. The only problem with that is you have to pass a lot of decisions, and by playing the anarchist you get a really big nerf to your political power. Somebody did the calculations, I don't remember who, but I think I saw somewhere that in order to core the entirety of Africa, it's gonna take you around the 60s, maybe 50 something, and that's just not achievable. I just think the whole mechanics for Ethiopia to get other countries to rise up should be reworked, and I really disagree with the way that it works right now. I don't think it should be on the states, like how you infiltrate every single state and you boost resistance. I think it should be in the whole country, like all of Kenya. You just play the decision for Kenya and you don't have to do for the 4 states that it has. But yeah, this was a big one. Let's go to the next one. And it is France. Damn, you know where that goes. Oh damn, look, we have another France. Let's get rid of it, and we have one more somewhere around. Look here. So I just don't want to talk about the French focus tree, and the other two The Free France and the Vichy France focus trees I literally never played in my over 5,000 hours of Hearts of Iron 4, so I'm not gonna talk about them either. Germany. Germany for me is top of average. It's just what I think about when you say average Hearts of Iron 4 focus tree. It works pretty well at what it does, but it can be greatly improved. For example, the historical path is pretty solid, I don't really want anything changed about it. But we have the opposed Hitler side, which right off the bat, where the fuck is the communist path? Come on Paradox, it's been how many years? 7 years and we don't have a communist Germany path? Come on. I kind of like how the Kaiser route plays out, but you do not have pretty much any choices. Only those 4 and we all know what the best path is. And it gets pretty repetitive after you play it once or twice. I really like how you can just revive Austria-Hungary out of nowhere. I hate Mussolini as any other guy, so this focus is welcomed. And why the fuck do you just randomly get a war goal on Spain? I don't understand that. The problem with the Kaiser route for me is that I think you don't get to core your lost territories in Poland, not all of them, or there is something specific I don't remember. And I think you should also get a choice either to reform Austria-Hungary or to just get cores on Austria and the Sudetenland and maybe get a Bohemian puppet or something like that. And the democratic path will just get a D for democratic. Moving on. We have one of the warlords. I don't care which one, I'm just gonna put them all in the bottom of the awful tier because I fucking hate them all except one, and I'm not gonna elaborate on that because you know what, I have no duty to do so. And the only Chinese nation left is Manchukuo, which will go in the average tier above Canada. I really like the claiming the mandate of heaven path. That path alone it would be pretty solid, but the overall score gets dragged down because you only have 2 paths and the other path is to be a cuck to the Japanese, and I don't really want to be a cuck anymore. Italy, it's pretty hard to rank for me because I only played it once since the rework and I only played until 1939 or something like that. I just hate playing majors and the Italian focus tree is just too big for me and I will only play it for achievements. So by knowing next to nothing about it, I'm just gonna put it on the bottom of the solid tier. Japan! Japan is lame, and yes, it's even lamer for me than China. Again, I only played Japan a couple of times for the achievements, which were pretty fun I guess, but other than that, it just doesn't have much to offer. And next we have Greece, which is pretty goddamn lame. I'm gonna put it between South Africa and Communist China. Not a big fan of the faction minigame. It has a pretty good amount of paths, but unfortunately 90% of them are just boring. The Byzantium path is the best in the Greece focus tree, although sometimes if you play unhistorical it could be very annoying to play. And the thing that bothered me most about this focus tree is the way they handled the Macedonian Empire path. I mean, in order to form it you have to conquer all the Middle East, a bit of the Balkans and a bit of India. And you have to do all of that with 6 million core population because you are not getting anything. Oh wait, I forgot, you also need to conquer some bits of the Soviet Union. So that means you'll have to fight the Allies, the Comintern, and probably the Axis for Yugoslavia and Bulgaria. And you know what the worst part is? Even if you do all of that and you manage to form the nation, you don't even get cores on all the territories that you need in order to form this nation. Which is just a big fuck you from Paradox. If they someday decide to fix that, I will bump Greece a whole tier up. And I think that is pretty easy to do. You just get to core the nation gradually. Let's say you take Turkey, you core Turkey. You get Iraq, you core Iraq. You get Iran, you core Iran, and so on. Easy fucking fix, but nobody wants to do it. I don't know why. Next up we have Hungary, good old Hungary. Everybody loves the Hungarian focus tree, except one person, and that is me. It's very lame for me to play Hungary, I'm gonna put it just below Greece. And that's only because Greece is a newer focus tree. Hungary, Hungary, Hungary. Why is this focus tree so bad if it does so many things right? First of all, you have a lot of choices to make, which is very good. You got a pretty good industrial tree. You also get to have a little bit more resources, which I don't know if you know that, but not a lot of focus trees allow you to just get more resources in your starting territory or any territory that you conquer. You get a pretty alright historical path, which is not really that offensive, but come on, it's just lame. It's fun to play a couple of times, but after 5,000 hours, I don't want to play this ever. The Austria-Hungary path is just the best and the worst part about the Hungarian focus tree, and that's just because of the god-awful RNG. And the fact that you have 6 whole entire focuses that only give you claims. Who the fuck thought this would be a good idea? Just fire him, please, fire him. But fire him nicely, please. I don't even want to talk about the democratic and the communist path, so let's just move on. Mexico. I always felt just so fucking weird about the Mexican focus tree. It is really powerful, but it just doesn't work for me. I don't know how to put it. It's just weird, so I'm gonna put it in the bottom of average. We have 2 Spains, and I'm just gonna rank them together as the whole entire focus tree. And the Spanish focus tree is just deceptively huge, because you look at this and oh wow, I can't even see the icons, and you say oh wow, this is the biggest focus tree in Hearts of Iron 4. But once you click one of those 2, you just break it in half, and then you get 3 more choices where you only get to keep 1/3 of the half. So what does this focus tree do very well? Choices. You have 6 main paths, which are different enough for me to care about them. The Spanish Civil War mechanics are working fine, and I think it's overall a good system. But the problems with the tree is that some of those paths just outshine the others. For example, the Regional Defensive Council of Aragon, if you play it right and you get a little bit of luck, can be the funnest game you ever have in Hearts of Iron. The Supremacy of the Communion and the Phalanx Ascended path, I think, are the second and third best. And for the Nationalist Front, the Anti-Fascist Workers' Revolution and the Maintain the Second Republic, I don't think I ever played, and I find them a little boring. The thing that this focus tree mainly lacks is giving you cores. A lot of paths let you core Portugal, which is fine, and I think every single one of them should let you do that. But apart from the anarchists, no other path really lets you core anything. And the biggest offender, I think, is the Spanish Empire, because you get war goals on France, Belgium and Netherlands, and you just have a focus that's named Claim the French Throne, and you don't get to core France. Why just call it a different name then. And you also don't get to core the former Spanish Netherlands. And the thing that pisses me off the most is why the fuck don't I get to core the Spanish Empire if I am reviving it? Just let me core all the former Spanish colonies. Yes, all of those and the islands and those and maybe Mexico too, you know what? And at least if you don't want to make Spain that powerful, although they can core the entire fucking planet, just let me create the viceroyalties back, like the Peru one or the New Spain one, and just have really big powerful puppets in South and North America. But yeah, because of all of the waste potential, Spain will go in bottom of solid. It could have been best of the best, but it does not. The Netherlands. I really fucking like the Netherlands focus tree. It's gonna go on top of solid. You get a lot of paths and choices, which we already established that is a thing that I like and a good thing in general. The problem with the Dutch focus tree is the industrial and this other little tree here. The fact that the Dutch focus tree has the longest focus in all of Hearts of Iron, which is this one with 210 days, which is way too much. And the whole entire shell-shocked spectator of the Great War system, this is way too harsh and way too hard to get rid of, paired with the fact that you also have 2 other major debuffs for such a little country. You also get democracy, a mediocre communist path, a pretty solid fascist one. I really hate this focus in particular, taking back the French Flanders. Which, okay, you get this state back, but why the fuck don't you core it? It's 3 million valuable people that you kind of need, because your country only has 8 million and you get another 9 for Belgium. And that would be my biggest problem with Netherlands. You just have a very small population for such a powerful country. In my opinion, you should be able to core some states from France and some from Germany, maybe the Rhine or something like that. But yeah, my favorite Netherlands path is the monarchist one, of course, and I love the fact that you can get a German puppet with Wilhelmina. New Zealand. Controversially, top of awful. And the only reason New Zealand doesn't go in the bottom of awful tier is that they can actually form a nation and get more cores. And you know what, I would be willing to bump them up to the middle of the lame tier if and only if they would be able to core Australia, which I think would be funny. Also, when the fuck was the impossible terrain added to Australia? Was it in the By Blood Alone DLC? Next up, the big boy Poland. And just as its little brother Lithuania, it's gonna go in the best of the best, actually above Lithuania, because the Polish Focus 3 is the best Focus 3 Hearts of Iron ever fucking delivered. And that is not just my opinion, that's the absolute truth. If you disagree with me, just deal with it. It's the Focus 3 with the most amount of choice in Hearts of Iron. It's a huge Focus 3, it has a very good industrial branch, a mandatory boring historical path, a pretty good communist branch surprisingly, democracy, 5 very good monarchist trees that are crafted pretty well, and every single one of them is very different from the other. You also got a fascist path, which is alright, and the capitulation path. It also gives you a lot of nations to form, a lot of cores to gain, and overall a very fun nation to play. Okay, and now that I got over my beloved Poland, we have 9 countries remaining and we're gonna just blitz through those. Portugal, top of the average. It has a couple pointless paths, you can core a lot of shit, pretty basic and easy to understand, overall fun. Romania, bottom of lame. You only have 2 paths, having fun or preserving the Greater Romania, one of the smallest focus trees in Hearts of Iron. You can't form any nation, you cannot get any cores by actually playing Romania. And yes guys, I know that this focus gives Romania cores on West Banat and Vojvodina, but how often does that happen? Well, I'm gonna tell you, in my 5000 hours, not one time. And more than that, you only get 1.4 million core population from those 2 states, and 60% of that is because of a bug, so don't come back with this shit, okay? Soviet Union never played after the rework, top of solid, beneath the Netherlands. Why no democracy? Switzerland, I fucking hate it. Top of awful. I tried to play it a couple of times for achievement, I didn't understand shit, I got my ass kicked. Most awful experience, I lived in Hearts of Iron. Turkey, top of lame. The Ottoman path, it's pretty fun if you deal with all the shit before that, and with every other path you just need to do a world conquest to do anything. The United Kingdom, right there beneath Germany. The second best historical path in the game, and pretty fun fascist and monarchist paths. United States, I hate this shit. Above Romania, but beneath Japan. Yugoslavia, the best Death or Dishonor DLC, changed my mind. Solid above the Soviet Union. And of course, the last country added to Hearts of Iron 4, the mighty Sultanate of Ausa, average. So yeah, this is pretty much it. I hope you had fun. If yes, give this video a like and a subscribe. A huge thanks to my Patreon Flossie. Check my Discord server in the description. Watch every other video that I ever created. And give me $35 please. Bye!